So, Tears of the Kingdom has released to roaring success. No matter which way you want to measure it, it is a success for Nintendo. It's a success for Zelda team, and that's phenomenal to see. It's fantastic. One thing that I wasn't really expecting to happen, and maybe I'm naive. Maybe I just like to consider games as games, and I don't kind of necessarily attach them to a brand per se. For example, obviously Tears of the Kingdom is on Nintendo's console, but for me, it's just a game and I own Nintendo console, so I'm gonna play this big game that I like and I have fun playing. That's just me. But the release of Tears of the Kingdom kind of sparked some kind of controversy amongst pretty much the three console communities, and it's kind of being used as a weapon to push each person's narrative, and it's so childish to me in my opinion, and I hate that I'm even having this kind of conversation, but it's starting to really bother me how much people are kind of sullying the good name of Tears of the Kingdom. Hey there you guys, my name is Christian. If you enjoy this kind of video, do me a favor and like the video. Consider subscribing because we do have tons more content like this. With that, let's get into this kind of controversy that Tears of the Kingdom has spurred up. And again, I don't think it's the game console or the video game itself, it's just the people around it, which is really annoying. And it's just this weird mentality that some of these fan bases have to kind of like push their own narrative that their console is the best or their piece of plastic is the best, and it's just really awkward to me. But so some of the conversations kind of came out of this is about the review score of Tears of the Kingdom. It reviewed at a very solid 96, which is just impressive. And a lot of people were saying, well, why does Tears of the Kingdom get a pass on things like frame rate and muddy graphics when they dinged things like Jedi Survivor for the same thing, and then they ding things like Redfall for a lot of the same issues? Where are the dings to Nintendo? Where are the dings to Tears of the Kingdom? In my opinion, it's like, dude, who cares? Who cares what other people think about this game? If you don't want to play it, that's fine, man. Why do you get mad if your game that you're playing is in a 96? I'm playing Jedi Survivor, and I love Jedi Survivor. Do I love it the same way I love Tears of the Kingdom? No, they're two different games. They play differently, and they try to achieve different things. So I don't care that Jedi Survivor is an 86. That's a good score for me. I'm happy with that, and I don't really care if other people don't like that. And I feel like maybe it's just because I come from a generation where, I don't know, we didn't really care about review scores. I played terrible games and I played great games. And sometimes I thought great games were terrible, and sometimes I thought terrible games were great. That's just because that's my bias and that's my opinion. But because I think people are so fed information and kind of echo chamber each other and bounce off critiques back and forth, it kind of amplifies to this big loud noise that's ruining a celebration that we should all be having as gaming enthusiasts, as people who love video games in general, whether it be on Nintendo, Xbox, or PlayStation. We should be celebrating this amazing game and the fact that it's out in the wild and people are playing and people are enjoying it. And if you don't want to, that's fine. I don't play Minecraft. I don't knock anybody for wanting to play Minecraft. That's them. I think what some people need to understand when it comes to review scores is that it's someone's personal experience that they're kind of telling you about and grading it on a scale of 0 to 10 or whatever. Now, when it comes to technical problems in a video game, I think you should only really score those as part of the experience if it interfered or played a part in that experience that you had with the game. For example, if you play 80 hours of Tears of the Kingdom, and yeah, it was at 25 frames per second, it stuttered and the graphics are muddy, but you had fun doing it, none of that technical problems could interfere with that experience. Now, if you play a game like Redfall, and the game just isn't fun, and also it frame skips, then yeah, you're going to dock it points. Game like Jedi Survivor, fantastic game, phenomenal story, but when they're in the middle of a cutscene, and they're in a very deep moment, and you're deeply immersed in what's going on, and then the frame skips and takes you out of that experience, yeah, it plays a part in the experience. And Nintendo's not immune to this. Just because Zelda got a 96 does not mean every Nintendo game gets that score. Bayonetta 3 last year got dinged hard for its technical flaws, for its muddy graphics, and for essentially attempting too much that they couldn't get done on this hardware. So no, Nintendo's not immune to this. So like I said in the beginning of the video, I don't fanboy for any console. I don't care about the console or the piece of plastic or whoever's running them. I care about the game. And if you're a Nintendo fanboy and you're watching this and you're saying, yes, preach it, you're not immune to this controversy either. You guys been saying some things that have been bothering me as well. Because again, I like PlayStation games. I like some Xbox games. So something that's been bothering me a lot lately that some Nintendo people have been saying is that look at what Tears of the Kingdom managed to accomplish and how much fun in its review score, etc., on very weak hardware. Yet Sony games or Xbox games can't really do the same things on these really strong, powerful hardwares, and maybe they should take notes from Nintendo, or maybe they should kind of try to emulate this kind of Tears of the Kingdom experience. And I don't know, I call BS on that stuff. Because here's the thing, just because Tears of the Kingdom works for Tears of the Kingdom, works for Nintendo, does not mean PlayStation has to go and make the next God of War an open world sandbox puzzle platform or whatever. It's not going to work that way. That's not what Sony likes to do. It's not what Sony does best. If Sony was to try to come and battle Nintendo at making a game like this, they would lose hard. Because if I'm being honest, Nintendo's the only really first party developer that understands how to make games this fun mechanically. And that's the reason why we let them slide on things like graphics, things like performance, or lack of story. Like, let's look Link at example. Link is a character who does not speak. Yet so many people fanboy hard for Link at all. Yet who is Link? You know, like personally, who is Link? Versus we know exactly who Kratos is. We know exactly who Aloy is. That's what Sony does best. They do these single player narratives that are cinematic and with just these very deep narratives that kind of make you feel like you're kind of watching a movie and experiencing it. Versus Nintendo, who does really fun, like everyone could kind of hop in and play type of games. It's just different gaming philosophies, and both of them are on the peak of what they're doing right now. So why would any one of them try to copy either or? If Nintendo was to go and try to do what God of War does, what Horizon does, they wouldn't be able to accomplish it because they don't understand the story narrative part as well as Sony does. Just like Sony doesn't understand the gameplay mechanics and how fun they could be as much as Nintendo does. And I feel like these are things that people kind of got to understand. Tears of the Kingdom is an amazing game. It doesn't mean you have to tear down or trash games like God of War or Horizon or even Jedi Survivor. These are games that are fun on their own merits and have different things they're trying to accomplish within their games. And Tears of the Kingdom isn't any less because God of War is a better story. Or because I personally like Aloy more than I like Link. It doesn't take away from my experience playing Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom is its own fun game with its own gaming philosophies. And God of War is its own thing. If we were to try to compare them apples to apples, you can't. Because they're two different ends of the spectrum. And I feel like the more people try to kind of compare and battle them out, it takes away from people who just want to play both and like both. Or maybe they hate both. Who knows? Maybe you're out there playing Call of Duty and you're laughing at us. Like, again, everyone has their different reasons why they play games. And I feel like if everyone was to try to emulate Tears of the Kingdom, everyone would fail at trying. Or it would take away from the experience of Tears of the Kingdom. Remember when games started going open world? And then they wouldn't stop being open world, and it was really annoying. And then you have this Ubisoft problem where every game is open world. It sucks. Remember when games started becoming live service, and now every game wants to go and be a live service? Again, these are things that kind of, yes, it's cool for certain games. It doesn't mean every game or every company has to follow suit. Anyways, that's all I have to say. If you're fanboying for any one of these consoles, please stop, man. It's not fun. It's not cool. If you love Nintendo and you hate Sony and Xbox, that's perfectly fine. Love Nintendo, hate Sony and Xbox. Doesn't mean you have to compare apple to apples, game to game, because don't do that, man. God of War is a great game. Horizon's a great game. Tears of the Kingdom, amazing game. Anyways, that's my time. I'll see you guys on the next video. And remember to just keep enjoying your games, you guys. Keep having fun, man.